get right into it. Zenless Zone Zero ranges from people saying it's a masterpiece of a game to people saying it's very, very unfulfilling to play. And all of this hinges off of one point: the combat. Zenless's combat is the core of the experience and the part that people have been talking about a lot as of late. And this has led to Zenless being compared to some of the other combat games of the genre, such as Genshin, and more notably Wuthering Waves. However, this sentiment has led to a vocal mass of people online calling Zenless mindless, mashy, and even brain dead. And honestly, I don't think it's quite fair to say any of those things. And here's why. Not only has the creator of Zenless Zone Zero been stating that Zenless is one of those games that starts off as a game to ease the player into the action, starting as a very easy experience into something that gets a little bit harder later. And this is actually pretty true. Some of the earlier chapters of the game I noticed were very, very easy. But as I've gone through the game, I've noticed it getting quite a bit harder. There's a bit more enemies on screen and so on and so forth. However, it's the next big argument that there are no combos. And that is simply not true. So let me break something down for you guys. As a heavy fighting game player and a very hardcore action game fan, I usually hear people talk about combos. However, when they talk about combos, they're usually referring to two different things: actual combos and then juggling. The term combo in a vacuum means any series of hits that renders the enemy or opponent unable to respond with an attack or a way to escape. So that means basically anything that allows you to continue hitting them without them being able to attack you back is considered a combo. This is prevalent in a lot of fighting games, and I'm showing you one on the screen right now. This is what that looks like. They don't really leave the ground, they're kind of still grounded, but the combo's still going and they can't do anything about it. However, the term juggles has a bit more nuance to it. Juggles are strings that start with a launcher and then they are used to sustain the aerial position of the enemy, and until the enemy can land, they can't do anything about what you're doing to them. So usually what happens in a juggle is the enemy gets launched by the player and then the player continuously hits them until gravity acts on them and pushes them down towards the ground, where they can either do a tech or they can get up and do some other reaction to it. Now, this leads to the question, which of these two combo structures does Zenless contain? And the answer is actually a large mix of both, despite Zenless not even having aerial combos like that. The key to juggles in Zenless is to have a character that has a launcher, and then you are using a lot of your characters and teammates to sustain the juggle so that they are in the air suspended where they can't land and react to you. Note that this only works on smaller enemies and it does not work on the bigger enemies. But that's in most action games. For example, one of my favorite characters to use a launcher with is Ambi. And believe it or not, she is the first character you get for free. If you do her special attack, she does a lunging launch where she launches them in the air and you can dash cancel it to get under them so you can continue the combo by yourself or tag in a teammate off of the launcher and do various other things beyond that. However, I've actually discovered some tech with this game. So usually with Ambi's EX launcher or her EX special move, she can't react out of it. No one can come in to help her or anything like that. However, I found a way to do it using Lucy, which is another character you get later in the game. So using Lucy's ability, not her skill, her ability based off of her number of attacks that she's done, she can make the boards below her spin with her. And with this, you can actually make them spin to the point where when Ambi comes in and does the flip, they land on top of the picks who are still spinning to continue the juggle to keep the combo going. And honestly, this is groundbreaking because before now, you'd only be able to do it off of her regular special and not her EX special. And now you can. Thank me later, y'all. And you can use this to extend into a combo off of like a support character, and then you can tag yourself back in, which actually leads to my next point: positioning. Positioning is important in this game. Not only does positioning determine who comes in next off of certain moves, it also can be used to manipulate certain moves attributes and allow you to tag in into a longer combo than what you would have initially had. And not only that, some characters have special properties off of being tagged in off of a chain. Take my girl Soldier 11 for example. Soldier 11, when she is tagged in, has an ability that allows her to use her fire suppression moves, which is her moves where she's on fire and she allows you to do burn damage and things like that, without having to time it manually. And this is huge because you can create very, very long strings of time where Soldier 11 is just relentlessly wailing on somebody. She can cancel into her EX special and then continue wailing on somebody, and then cancel into her super, and then continue wailing on somebody, to the point where you have hit now 24 consecutive fire hits. They are guaranteed to be burned at this point. And none of this is timed, by the way. So of course you can do it manually, but that makes Soldier 11 a lot more digestible to players who are not good at the timing thing. There's not really a visual indicator of when you should press it, or at least that I've known. If you know one, let me know down in the comments below. And these are just a few of the things we have discovered. Check out Azrael's guide on how to do this DP cancel thing, bro. This DP cancel combo broken thing is actually insane. Definitely check my brother out. I'll put that down in the description below too, just in case you want to see it. And it's crazy because I've already spent 3 minutes talking to you guys about some of the tech in the game, which, imagine to someone who's very new to the genre, is very hard to digest at first glance. So you have to keep playing this video back, you have to keep playing through the sequence again and again, and then you'll eventually understand it, but I'm sure you'll get there. And learning these things and then being able to utilize them is a whole nother step in the process of itself. So guys that are still learning, do not feel bad. Now, as for my direct thoughts about the combat and the difficulty, you'll have to wait one more moment for that. There's one more very important aspect we need to touch on before we get there. And this is the fact that Zenless does not have a jump button. Jumping in action games is an important factor for a multitude of reasons. And in fact, most of them have it, however, some don't. So what does this change? Arguably, jumping makes action games a lot easier and more accessible. This is due to jumping being an alternate form of dodging, so sometimes when you don't want to time that dodge, you can just jump out the way because either they'll go under you or you'll be able to move to a higher ground where they can't hit you at. And this in turn gives the player less opportunities for missteps during the action. However, you can also argue that jumping takes away some of the tension from the fights. I believe this is what particularly makes Dark Souls as intimidating as it is, because you can't jump. You have to interact directly with the enemy and what the enemy is throwing at you at all times. And this also takes paramount in games like Final Fantasy XIV, where there's a lot of AoE effects going on and you have no choice but to interact with the mechanic that is at play. So usually when there is no escape involved, you have to find a way to move around this mechanic. And there are even games that have a jump button that discourage it later on because of how laggy it is compared to what the enemy is going to do to you. And of course the reverse side is true, because jumping allows for aerial combos and things like that you see in a lot of action games. However, most of those action games don't actually allow for true aerial combos until you unlock the ability to do so. And I think Zenless is going to take this approach where certain characters will be able to do aerial combos later. Not everybody will be able to. And what this usually does is it eases the player into a sense of learning how the game works at its core before you start implementing crazier actions and things like that change the way that the game is played at a core level. Zenless is proving to be just like most regular action games, where it's a lot of easy things that you can do. However, if you want to dig deeper into it, there's a lot more than meets the eye, and that is perfect for hardcore gamers and newcomers alike. I am truly looking forward to seeing where this game goes with character kits, and I am also excited to see how hard this game gets later. There's word that shield defense is actually kind of difficult. I don't know if that's true or not. Let me know down in the comment section below. Have you guys been struggling with the game? Is it too easy? Have you found any crazy tech? Let me know down in the comment section below. And definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new here. It's been your boy Zeta Slow. Until next time, everybody, stay healthy, stay happy, stay groovy. Love each and every one of y'all. We out of here. Peace.